I'm going to tell a story of two brothers because that's how I kind of got into chess. I'm going to tell the story of me and my brother and how that led to me being into chess. So me and my brother, we grew up in South Florida, Jamaican immigrants. Our father died very young. When I was 6 months, he was 2. So we have these two brothers. My mother remarried, but stepfather is different. Love him, but it's a little different. So it's me and him on the streets. Most of my parents are always working, so me and him just running around trying to find money, collect bottles, take them to the store, buy something. So he's teaching me everything. He's only 2 years older than me, but he's like a father figure to me. But I'm looking out for him too. So growing up, he's always in trouble, always in trouble. He's getting kicked out of school. My mom is sending him away to live with his aunt. He's just so much trouble for everybody. They're trying to spank him, can't change him. But I love him. He's my brother. And he's the one showing me about a frog, a lizard, all these things. But he's telling me, hey, he's gonna play football one day. He's gonna be into sports. So we grow up in Lauderhill. He grows up and he becomes an All-American football player. Winds up going to the NFL. I'm in college my senior year studying elementary education. And he calls me up and he says, hey, there's a game I want you to play. It's called chess. So I'm saying, you been working on your chess? You know, because he could bench press like 500 pounds. So I'm like, what are you, chess? What are you talking about? Yeah, we're playing chess, man. I'm playing on the plane with the guys. We're playing chess, man. You got to get into this game. I was like, what? So I'm in elementary education, so I'm thinking, well, you know, maybe there's something to it. So I get a computer from Circuit City. I don't know if anybody remembers Circuit City. And it's funny enough, I said, okay, I'm going to learn this game, but by the time we get together, we'll play and stuff like that. So I try to teach myself how to play on the Circuit City computer. And the Circuit City computer is 256 megabytes total, everything. And it can only play Ruy Lopez. That's all it knew. So that's the only opening I knew for many years. Still to this day, if you play me Ruy Lopez, you're in trouble. Play me anything else, you got a chance to beat me, easy. But I learned how to play Ruy Lopez on the computer. And finally, you know, he comes home from the season and we're playing with each other, going back and forth, back and forth. And remember, we grew up, man, he used to bully me. He like throw me in the grass. We'd put holes in the wall. He'd throw me like superhero fights. Like this is like two big guys just throwing each other around. But now we're playing chess. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. You know, we're going back and forth. But then one day I said, okay, I got to beat this guy at something. He's been beating me at everything his whole life. So I go and get a book called Samurai Chess. And I read this book, and it relates chess and the martial arts together. So it's like they'll give you a grandmaster and then a fighter that is parallel to that grandmaster. So I'm reading these games, and it's like it's different the way I came into it because I'm coming from this aggressive background in my life. So if you would have came to me with just a regular chess book, I don't want that. But this Samurai Chess book, it touched me in a way because it was like feeding into that aggressive energy. And so I read that book, and I beat my brother 9 games straight after reading that game. But he wins the 10th game and doesn't play me again for 20 years. It'll be 20 years for him to play me again. He's just coming back into the game right now on chess.com. But he got kicked out of so many schools growing up. And this is the thing. When I was my senior year, I really had kind of changed my life around because I was like a 2.0 student in school. But then, you know, chess and doing these things, I wound up, you know, getting a 4.0. So I had a lot of schools that were recruiting me coming out of elementary education. But I took the job at the school. My brother, they kicked my brother out of so many schools. But there's one school that took him in. And that's the school I went to teach at for 19 years. So when I come there, see all these rambunctious kids, the school is not doing well. So I'm like, it's crazy upon me to say, hey, I'm going to teach these kids how to play chess. And even though they're rambunctious and run around, I just always remembered my brother, that nobody believed in him. So I had to believe in these kids. And I would teach these kids how to play chess after school. No money. For 10 years, nobody gave me any money. No support from my principal. But I would go on, I'd teach these kids after school. And when I think about just how these kids, man, just inspired me, because I remember going to the first tournament with them, just a local tournament. And like, I never really had any high-rated kids or anything like that, but I remember going to this local tournament, and I was telling those kids, hey, man, y'all gonna lose every game, don't worry about it, we're just going for the experience. And those kids won.
And Mac, now you teach drones, right? You fly drones in your class.
Yeah, I'm in middle school. I teach computer science and stuff. But at that time, I was an elementary teacher. But those kids really inspired me, and it was kind of like my brother, you know, because sometimes those kids would be so bad, man, you know, cursing, doing things. But I just remember my brother, man, how many people just did not believe in him, and that always just growing up, I was like, he was the only one, man, that really like, because, you know, our father died. He was like a father figure. And nobody liked the guy. I was the only one that really, but he said he's going to the NFL. I said, yeah, man, you could do it. I was the one backing him all the time. So to see him make that, you know, that's why I believe in these kids, you know, even when nobody doesn't believe in them, I want to believe in them.
I think you've made a powerful case for mentorship in chess.
Right, so that's the way I use the game. I use the game to help kids make better decisions in their life, transfer that over. Hopefully they can go on and improve their academics. And funny story enough, I spoke at last year's conference, and I was telling them about this year. We got a new principal last year, and she was just giving me such a hard time because she didn't really know my background. She didn't know how I was. Other people knew me. The principal of the middle school, because I had transferred from elementary after 19 years, and I went to middle school. So the principal that brought me over to middle school, he knew what I was doing in chess. He was like, man, I want you to come over here and work with the kids in chess, because it was a rough middle school. And funny enough, it's right by the high school me and my brother went to. And he brings me over there to teach chess. But then we get a new principal, and she's very focused on just, you know, the state test, because that's what you got to worry about with these public schools. The principals are being pressured by the state test, so they don't want to use any in-school time for extracurricular things like chess and stuff like that. So she comes in and she tells me all this stuff. Why are you teaching that game? You can't teach that game and all that. So she tells me all this stuff, and what have you done in chess? And I told her, look, I'm into revolutionary transformation with the kids. I want these kids to be transformed by something. And I'm telling her, hey, all what you're doing here with all these worksheets that these teachers are doing, none of it can compare to what I do with chess. I transform kids. Kids come back to me 20 years later and say, hey, Mr. McKenzie, thank you for teaching me chess. And they don't come back. I never see them come back to no other teachers. Like, they come back to me. Okay. So I tell her all this. You gotta teach the curriculum. So funny enough, there was this kid, and I'll end with kind of this story, because if any of you aspiring out there and you're having trouble with your principal and all that kind of stuff like that, there's this kid, and again it goes back to my brother, because here's a kid, nobody believes in this kid. He's getting kicked out of class. One teacher wants to call the police on him. They want to put this kid out of school. They're writing a paperwork to expel this kid from school. They want to kick this, not just suspend him, they want to expel him out of this whole school. But he's in my class, and I teach him chess. And he's a very aggressive kid. He's always want to fight, So I'm trying to transfer this energy into chess. And I start giving him a snack for, like, he's like a big chubby kid, so he loves, like, Takis, these stupid chips that kids like. So I said, okay, I got a program that he's on. I said, okay, if you achieve this level in chess, I'll give you a bag of chips each day. You know, and so he starts to achieve, you know, reading the program, going up. And before you know it, man, this kid is on level 10. And I'm taking him to tournaments on the weekend with me. I go and pick these kids up, because they're not giving me any money. So I go and pick these kids up and take them to tournaments. This kid winds up being like the best chess player in the entire school. He makes a 5. Remember, there's 5 levels of this state test. He makes a level 5 on the math. This is a kid they want to kick out of school. And they're still kicking him out of class, but he's doing better. But he's knocking on my door. Hey, Mr. McKenzie, can I come and play chess? Can I come play chess? And I let him in, play chess, and the principal would come in there and see this kid, man, that everybody hates, sitting down quiet, playing chess.
So, Mac, you're responsible for him becoming as fat as I am, right?
Yeah, so anyways, so make a long story short, the principal realizes that, and this year she came back to me at the beginning of the year, and she's like, Mr. McKenzie, if you want to teach chess, I've seen what you did with Quran. Hey, if you want to teach chess, you can teach chess anytime you want. So she's on my side now. I won her over. You know, I didn't like fight with her. I just said, okay, I'm just going to do what I do, and then you're going to see what I do.